what? So we've seen Boring move over and take the Pathfinder duties, and he's swapped that over with Jackie Chan, who's been playing Fuse for the last couple of games. So yeah, look, interesting to see that, again, a 10-game series gives these teams opportunities to make changes, to try different things across not only a variety of maps, but a variety of compositions. And yeah, there's just a lot of space for these teams to make the comeback, and it feels like we're getting not one, but several of those here.
Then you take a look at teams like Riddle Order, sitting in dead last, 15 points, right behind Heroes, I believe, and it's just the fact that we have 2 more games left to go. Time is of the essence for a lot of these teams here, as we focus on how Riddle Order is going to also have to rotate around Mizuki, who also lands right next to them.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about changing it up, Umi-chan has played 3 different legends in this series so far. And, you know, maybe that's not entirely surprising considering you play 4 different maps across that. But, you know, it's not necessarily been confined to, you know, particular map series. The fact that he's gone from, you know, Watson to Pathfinder to Bloodhound. And not that that's going to be too much of a problem here. We've got Weibo Gaming coming down from Checkpoint, and yeah, that's Elevate Bleed coming up towards them.
Something that, you know, Elevate had to deal with this very early on in the day. I believe it was like the first game or so, where they actually were contested by Fnatic trying to get the Evil Harvester close to Mill, and it was Zach Mazer who was called out. Now, Elevate Bleed kind of creeping up around Weibo before they were trying to execute the Evil Harvester, trying to not only control that, but also try to take advantage of this circle and where it's pulling here over by the northwest side of the map.
In 10th spot. Job is not done for our Chinese team. They need to still push up even further and keep the other teams at bay. So many of them now pushing up in the bottom half of the scoreboard. Na'Vi, one of those.
Can we talk about
to get rid of their, you know, their moniker at LAN as this team who's a, you know, an onliner.
It's crazy to see what they could do when they're sitting on that cusp, true, right? 12th place, 44 points, but it's also even crazier to see how EXO has been performing thus far. Usually a team that has their hot and cold days, but find themselves in the middle of the pack on days that they execute against teams at this caliber in this current lobby, yet they're sitting in 2nd place. As we see Na'Vi taking a much more passive approach because this circle will be pulling probably close to the hilltop when you exit out of Cedo, where we saw LGD Gaming currently situated at, where Fnatic is going to be wrapping around on the other side of Mill. So this area is going to get hot very quick, while Fuda risking it all right now to get the gold nemesis perhaps here. Yes, he's going to commit to it. He's going to be able to now rotate right back to the safety of his team. Lovely, of course, sending out your Bangalore to take advantage of that, because in a composition like this, Genome, the Watson, the Fuse, you're going to be sitting pretty inside this building, calling out where the circle was going to be pulling, so you're not going to really overextend and have too much loot to work with.
Yeah, not bad sitting over there at Bean. That said, I don't think this ring is done and dusted, Vicky. It could be going towards Cedo Station. Most teams definitely reading it as a Bean circle, but look, I don't want to give them too much credit after today, honestly, because it feels like the ring has been, you know, sort of its own character. You know, just having some interesting pulls today, having fun with the players. We have just taken a short pause. Bear with us while we work through that. Just want to make sure all the players, you know, are feeling comfortable about where we're at in the game. Hopefully it won't be too long for you guys. I mean, yeah, look, you were talking about EXO Clan there and how well they've done today, Vicky. Hot and cold. I mean, it's only been hot today, right? They haven't had a single game, a single donut, right? The minimum they've got today is 3 points if we're looking across the 8 games we've seen so far. And, you know, you say consistency is key. You've got, yeah, it's very hard to do that in a full series, honestly, because, yeah, you know, all it takes is losing one team fight to get into that situation. So, EXO really doing well. I mean, Yeah, I guess that compared to some of the other teams who were looking to change things up, to change their fortunes, EXO are the opposite. They've played Bang, Fuse, and Watson. 8 games out of 8 so far.
You also saw like K-Sweeney's face right there, right? Waving at the camera, giving some love over to the fans as well, and the audience and at home. That also goes hand in hand with the type of attitude this team is going into today. Very fresh slate, but also helps the fact that they won Game 4, 7 KP, like you mentioned, have been really ramping up while other squads get ready to go here. Getting word that we are going to get right into the game, guys. Thank you so much for your patience, but always making sure that our players are ready to go, because once again, there's only 2 more games left to see which team will be eliminated and which squads will be going on to the upper bracket.
I mean, this isn't any ordinary group stage. The stakes are high here. The top 9 go through straight into the grand final, and the others have to find their way through a brutal LCQ tomorrow with only 2 spots available.
And that's with the fact that they would be going in, if they do manage to hit those top 2 spots, with no advance points. So that is huge when it comes to that finals lobby. While we take a look at DMS on their rotate, going through Spider Caves on the Trident. Getting shot from the back, I believe it was from Mizuchi, who have already made their rotate away from Echo HQ, where they had a ring console and a survey beacon, are going to be able to take advantage of that information in Barometer as well. But DMS is now stuck by the edge of the circle. We also previously saw TSM actually on their rotate on the southern side of the zone, where we saw EXO Clan inside that building. So very congested if you don't really find yourself in some sort of safety or a building here, because then you're going to be in the line of sight of the likes like NRG and Fun with the charge rifle.
Sitting up there on Godrock. NRG currently in 14th spot. Team that we know has the potential to push their way up into that top 9. Had to try some different thirds over the past 12 to 18 months. Of course, Fun, FPS, and Nocturnal been together for quite some time now, and for most of their career were one of the most dominant teams in NA, but struggled to find their identity a little bit in 2024.
Gotta give a little shout out to Reptar, who's getting some kills, you know, throughout the course of the series, at least here, trying to see where they can situate themselves up on top of that high ground, while DMS on their rotate, being on the Trident. Already you can see those pings. They're going to be able to take some circle damage for now, because while they are going to be late rotating to the south side of Mizuchi, they will probably be gate-kept by the likes of TSM and Mizuchi, who haven't moved from that southern side of the zone. Or do they want to wrap fully around and maybe try to get the beacon that we saw earlier on in Barometer? Love the side-by-side that you currently see right here. That's the pressure that DMS is feeling at the moment. But then you see teams like Blacklist, who are already by Jurassic, are going to be playing by the right side of the edge. And most of the squads you were talking about, Dino, there was a possibility that the circle could have gone over to Cedo, and look over this teams that are left over there. Yeah,
it was like this 50-50, right? And you could almost see that in the distribution of teams in the area. That said, I think the fact that more teams were being first does probably predict that, you know, the harder zone teams, you know, thought it was there, and maybe the teams that were coming in later were just like, well, we're probably not going to get a good spot in Bean, so why don't we just hedge our bets a little bit and say, you know, I'll take a good spot in Cedo, and then if that doesn't work out, I don't know, we'll go to plan B later.
Also saw the charge rifle in the feed. NRG going to be able to get a knock onto Elevate Bleed. Looking like they're in some trouble here. Seeing NRG playing by the edge, too, of the circle, you could expect the likes of Alliance, who are going to come out from the down beast direction over towards Na'Vi that we saw in the armory early. DMS is just taking a completely different rotate, but this is what they're forced to do, like we mentioned, when you want to try to capitalize off of any information you could get in Barometer.
Okay, back from that direction. Meanwhile, NRG still very happy. And Alliance found a nice spot up here.
Literally evicted NRG. came up on the zip line, see that they're flesh, and is now trying to fully send it. They are okay with giving up this position for right now. Effect also has the bang ult in case he needs an insurance policy here. The knuckle cluster to get the knock onto Fun. Reptar's the next one to go out. Noct is still alive, but this is what we're talking about. It's just very split, looking at the way that this team has tried to kind of stay cohesive, and now with Noct being the last one alive right now, and Alliance on full purples are the literal threats on the high ground.
Well, I guess the question was, you know, how did they get into that spot where they had such a good high ground, but then had to give it up to Alliance? I mean, I didn't quite catch how, you know, that initial fight happened and what would have pushed them off. But yeah, it's something that they're going to have to go back and look at, right?
Oh, Verholz is going crazy. The fact that he was able to catch Sassmaster, I mean, he landed right in front of him too. Took a little bit of damage already preemptively. Now DMS, look at this. Pressus was one, is able to pop the Phoenix kit. And as I hear Verholz, it's like a horror movie. I heard the grapple from the distance, and Pressus is out of there. Looking for the straggler. Pressus is on the other side of the rocks. TSM wrap up opposing him. Oh, no. Can't really overextend because of the Armory team that we're mentioning. That is Na'Vi, who have not moved from there.
Yeah, they are causing this to go on a little longer than perhaps it would have otherwise. Maybe he even gets out here. Does Prestus actually survive thanks to the suppressing fire there from Na'Vi? No. I think that's what Na'Vi were pointed in his direction. I think they might have actually finished the job off there. So see you later, DMS. They go down. Not a great time for it, Vicky. They were in 9th. Of course, as our desk pointed out, that means they're in that sort of every single point matters category. Now, if we're talking about, you know, what that cutoff is going to be, it was, I think, 53 points yesterday. We were predicting it to be a little higher in this lobby just because we don't have the point sponge. The Falcons up the top getting 140 and therefore, you know, reducing the amount of available points to the rest of the team pool. So would it be 55 today, maybe even up to 60? Somewhere in that range, I think, is where these teams are going to need to get. So I think if you get 60, I'm going to say you're fairly safe at that point. But if we cast our eyes down the leaderboard right now, there are not many teams that are past that. In fact, I think it's only 2. Is it just ExoClan and Alliance?
Oh, wow. That's it, especially since you're, like you mentioned, we don't have the Falcons flying away, right, with all the points. While we say goodbye to Northampton in the lobby for now, 13th place, another team with only 40 points, kind of being on that cusp, considering how tight the 9th place spot is for the rest of this lobby. But even better news, when you're looking at Northampton go down with 40 points, TSM, a lot of eyes on TSM sitting in 10th place with 46 points, but also on that southern zone trying to gatekeep the other squads coming in from the east.
You know what? I might have to revise that. I mean, that is one reason we could see the points total go up to qualify, but just having a better look at the scoreboard right now, there are so many teams so close together that I think it's more likely to be, you know, a 55-ish lower sort of point.
That was nasty. Nasty PK shots coming in. Weeble have waken up. From the bottom to the top they go to take this fight. And Virtus Pro get eliminated. Remember, it's about the momentum that dub has brought this team. Why it's so important to see what 2 extra games, rather just a few extra games in general, will do to a squad like this when the cutoff isn't just 6 games. Zone is shrinking here. Let's jump into a listen with TSM to see how they're going to be able to try to gatekeep Mizuchi.
I'm playing cannon, play cannon.
Yeah, play cannon.
We have Jen. Bring it in, Matt. They're walking up.
I can't play it.
They're walking up.
It's right. So me. 30 on here. Bank 50. No, man.
I'm going to Jen.
Tier 1. They're backing up a bit. They're backing up. They're walking left.
Two knock. Tier 1. Cheers one.
Running away.
No, it's one guy, I think. It's a bang, I think.
They got wrapped by full team lead. They got wrapped by full team lead, Evan.
Play your life, bro.
You can get top 15 here. They're dying, just so. You can live.
Go back to me.
The gatekeepers become the gate kept, basically, with Zap being the first to get knocked reps following afterwards. Verhols, the last one alive for TSM, but right behind Azuchi is Blacklist with the third party. The timing on their rotate, the moment that Mizuchi decided to overextend onto TSM.
This lobby is so close that it feels like every single team that goes out has some sort of ripple, some sort of importance to the final scoreboard here. And we see Heroes drop at 16th. That's important because it really is a battle between probably them and Riddle Order, maybe Dragon Esports, for who is going to get their key crushed today, Vicky. They go out and they've still got a 4-point lead over Riddle Order, but will that last?
Especially with Riddle Order still being alive. Also note, TSM, they found Verhols. They get eliminated. A team that desperately needed those points being on that cusp, sitting in 10th place. The Armory is getting pushed here while Fnatic are on the high ground, still looking at Na'Vi, who have not moved from here, but they're not the only ones, because Elevate Bleed are looking to get involved in this fight right behind them. Yuka gets taken down. Sasuke, the last one alive, well, rather the last one that had shields here, and kind of moves in, saves the day for Na'Vi right before Elevate have now moved in.
All of these bubble teams going down is so good for teams like Na'Vi. Well, at least until they get eliminated themselves. It means this is fantastic for LGD, for Bleed, Elevate, who now push into the lower 50s and have a chance to walk straight into Sunday's finals.
Alliance, are you kidding me? They came in from the skies, landing right on top of Elevate. They want to fight now for the Armory, and Elevate being on the low ground were able to completely stave them off. Alliance get eliminated. Elevate have turned things up with 7 squads left. They are looking crazy right now, and the team that they really need to focus on was the team that took care of Masucci, that took care of TSM on the east side of the circle, Blacklist International.
A lot of teams sitting over here at the market. Must be Sunday morning. Dragons Esports, LGT, NRG as well. NRG only with the one remaining member and sitting at 13 again. You need to do the absolute best ratting you can. At least it's Nocturnal. It means he's got the smokes to work with.
Ty also playing by the fence line here, while NRG, only Nocturnal, who has survived for this long, by the way. Let's not forget what happened when the rest of NRG had to run into Alliance, who booted them off of Godrock. Now with just Nocturnal keeping the dream here for NRG, playing off the high ground, sharing this space with Dragons Esports.
In the next circle, EXO's building will be in. So will part of the Armory. That means EXO playing that building with Watson, currently set up in a really fantastic spot. Elevate. They've got Seer, Bang, and Fuse. But considering they're more on the edge of the circle, away from most other teams, apart from a potential Blacklist international incursion, I think that'll allow them to start bullying some other teams, drawing those knuckle clusters out and keeping them at bay. Nocturnal, he's playing big. It's just him up there, and maybe they wouldn't have noticed that up until now, where you can see the Mortar Flare is detecting him. That won't stop him from getting the finish on to Ty now.
Are you kidding me? Every crumb is something that Nock needs right now for the rest of NRG. With 44 points after getting that finisher, Blacklist going down has allowed him to also get placement points, 5 squads left. And the fact that nobody can get to where Nock is right now too. Dragons are still playing from inside. He has the evac, he takes it, but he can't get away. NRG finally get eliminated, but that was crazy effort from Nocturnal.
He pushes them up to 45 points. That is within striking distance for the next game. Blacklist International, their job done, 62 points now.
EXO now move in. It's going to be a 3v3 between EXO and Elevate. Remember, XR sitting in second place. Elevate right behind them. Nice crack coming in. Feudal, though, gets taken out. Slayers also very low. Case Swinny out of the fight to pop this shield bat. They're trying to play around the crates right now, but also trying to get out of their line of sight. You can see the pings coming in.
Knuckle Cluster goes through the smoke, hoping to find some ticks, and that does give him the information on where the opponents are. Exo look to close the net once again.
Give him another one here with only one left from Elevate, one left from Exo. Can they clutch it out? No, Elevate with an insane game. Fighting for survival from the armory into that circle, into taking out Exo, the pop-off. Lou dapping up Zach Mazer.